Okay people, so after the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super, there's definitely a lot to be said, a lot of information to gather, and all around you could see certain aspects of where the story is going, and also some reminiscent things we've seen in Dragon Ball time and time again, in particular with some of the quote-unquote transformations, although it's not really called transformations, but the techniques, I guess you could say, and how Goku's maneuvering through it. But I still gotta say, with all that being said, there's a lot of aspects of this arc, especially with this latest chapter, that still has me very enticed and very, like, just overall excited. Like, I'm just genuinely like, yo, I am really hyped to see what's gonna happen, because as it stands right now, Dragon Ball Super, with this arc in particular, has been going on a very linear plot line. It's just like straightforward, okay, this is what's happening, and I feel as though at some point it's going to take a massive curve, and we're gonna get a massive curveball, because that whole thing going back to the fish, the oracle fish, saying that, oh, the strongest warrior is coming. I still at this particular point don't necessarily believe that he was referring to Granolah, and I do think that there's a possibility that Granolah has already been surpassed. But we're gonna get into all that and then some. Without further ado, people, let's talk a little bit of that Dragon Ball Super, because yeah, things is getting a little bit super crazy. Also, Zuno, Me Too movement is coming for you, fam. Let's do it.
No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done.
So right off the gate, the beginning of the chapter starts off with something very interesting, and it's also very reminiscent of something we've seen before, but nevertheless taking it to a whole different plateau, because we asked Goku basically, do you understand the fundamental difference between what you're doing and what the angels do as far as Ultra Instinct goes? And Goku equated it to what all of us would equate it to as a transformation, because essentially that's what it's been known to be. But we kind of breaks it down to him a little bit of like, well, angels, we're in Ultra Instinct all the time. Like, that's why, like, it's impossible to get me, and it's been that way the entirety of this run we've had, because I'm always in Ultra Instinct. So that was something that, you know, him teaching him that and telling him basically, if you want to be able to reach this level and advance, you got to stop looking at it as like this big transformation and be able to do it in your normal form. Now you're probably thinking, okay, where is it that we've seen that before? What's going on here? That straight up brings me back to when Goku and Gohan were training in the hyperbolic time chamber in Z during the Cell Saga. One of the big things that Goku wanted to find out is how he could maintain and sustain being Super Saiyan all the time, so that way he didn't have to sacrifice the stamina and the energy in general from going into that form. Kind of same thing, to be honest with you, to a certain degree, can be applied here of what's being said of basically it takes too much stamina using the transformation and everything like that. If you could focus in and use Ultra Instinct in your normal form, in base form, then you have a way better chance. So I feel as though they were borrowing ideas from that particular portion of Z in terms of the Ultra Instinct. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like there's going to be a little bit more to things, because I can't imagine Goku just fighting from here on out his main battles, all of his battles in base form, and only pulling out Ultra Instinct at the last second if need be. Like, I don't see that happening. That's not the formula for Dragon Ball. Nevertheless, that's the way things are going, because it seems as though that's going to be par for the course with Dragon Ball moving forward, at the very least for now, of Goku is going to be working on, like it's been said, you know, Ultra Instinct and different ways to use it, and Vegeta, of course, with the Hakai. But Whis informs them something odd has happened in the universe, and I don't know why. A big part of me feels like there's going to be a massive curveball, there's going to be a massive twist that it's not going to lead to Granolah. Like, even if Granolah was the strongest, I wouldn't be surprised if Goku and Vegeta and all their training they've been doing this entire time have already surpassed where Granolah was. Maybe Granolah, for that period when the dragon granted the wish, he was stronger. And remember, Granolah's just been sitting on his ass since then. He hasn't been training. He hasn't been doing anything. He's been sitting around in a spaceship staring at an old Namekian dude from his spaceship. Like, he ain't been doing nothing. Meanwhile, Goku and Vegeta have been training. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, at that particular moment, he was granted the wish and he was stronger than Goku and Vegeta. And let's just say it's been months or however long it's been since that time. Goku and Vegeta has trained immensely since then. They probably already surpassed him. I wouldn't be surprised if they already surpassed him. He might be able to put up a good fight. His desperation, he might be able to do a lot of things, because we've seen that he was somewhat formidable of a fighter before even having the wish granted. But I wouldn't be surprised if they already outclassed him. Like, yeah, he's probably stronger than a lot of people. Mind you that his death is not that far away. He got, what, 3 years left, was it? But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they already surpassed him, and he's not the strongest in the universe anymore. But either way, the Heaters, which I feel like the Heaters is going to play a pivotal part in the big plot twist of whatever the heck is going to go down. Essentially, Alec sends Maki and Oil. He's like, yo, fam, we gotta get things in motion. Go get the info from Zuno about Goku and Vegeta's weaknesses. Yada, yada, yada. He sends them on a quest, which we're gonna talk about Zuno in a little bit. And within that exchange, following them going off Maki and Oil, one of the things where, again, this is crazy prediction, I feel like the person that is going to end up being the strongest, maybe, don't quote me on it. I don't think it's going to be Granolah. Of course, Goku and Vegeta, they're going to be strong, but not in terms of like the strongest enemy they've ever faced, obviously, because they're facing the enemy. I think it's going to be Gas. I think Gas, out of all of them, the one that was real serious about it, the one that said to Alec, I wish you would have let me throw hands with them. And Alec was like, no, you're the one that has the most probability of being able to surpass Frieza from our family. I think something is going to happen there where Gas is going to showcase him being the strongest enemy that they have to face. I think there's going to be a major twist, and that's what's going to lead. I could be totally off, but I felt like this chapter cemented, because I've been feeling for the longest time, as awesome as Granolah with the long hair and the wish and all that, I felt like there's still more, there gotta be more to it. It just seems very linear for a plot, and it's like, where's the twist gonna come from? I think the twist is gonna come from the Heaters, and in particular, this guy, Gas. But Maki and Oil arrive to Zuno's palace, and y'all know Zuno. He's like, yo, he makes them perform an OnlyFans in his palace. No, in order to get the information, of course, you gotta give him a kiss. And of course, Zuno don't want big old Oil kissing him, so it had to be Maki. And yeah, Maki gives him a little bit of a smooch, and I'll be honest with you, I was just waiting for Zuno to get canceled. Zuno's gonna get canceled in Dragon Ball Super. The universal Me Too movement is on their way. Jocko's gonna be there with them, like, yo, don't worry, I understand it. And yeah, it's gonna be a wrap for Zuno. Because after he gets his kiss, he's like, ooh, I like a feisty woman, I'm gonna give you 10, which I want to say in the past he's given like 2 and 3, and the fact that he gave 10, like, yeah, he was really digging her. I could only imagine what type of information he would shell out if they did more. No. But in the end, when Maki was like, yeah, get with the times, harassment, hello, and Zuno was there looking a little bit embarrassed. Yeah, they're coming for you, fam. They're coming for you. They gonna be pulling up on you with that Me Too shit. Zuno is going to be canceled. Calling it. But then the next event really showcases that, I'll be honest with you, it feels as though this arc of Dragon Ball Super in particular, they picked up the pace quite a bit, and to be honest with you, I don't know if it's been like maybe the reception of this arc has been something else or what's going on here, but this arc feels very fast paced to a certain degree, because all of a sudden we cut back and it's been some time has passed, and now Goku in base form is using Ultra Instinct against Whis, and I was just kind of like, that feels like that needed more time to breathe, because that idea was just introduced in the beginning of this chapter, and midway through, suddenly Goku was doing it. So that was something that made me feel like, pacing is definitely moving a lot quicker. I always think about the business side of things, of why they would pick up the pace on something, because let's be honest, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If the arc is moving smoothly and everything, they're not gonna, rush things. So I'm imagining that maybe readers in Japan aren't really digging this whole Granolah thing, sales, maybe the anime needs to return soon and they want to have a few arcs down packed so that they could just run straight through. I don't know, but I definitely noticed that the pacing was a bit quicker, especially with, Goku learning something that should have taken a little bit more time. Like if you go to the last arc when Vegeta was training and things like that, it took a while for him to get on the scene. Likewise with Goku with the Ultra Instinct training with Mirrors and shit. Now him in half a chapter, he's learning how to use Ultra Instinct in base form. And likewise with Vegeta with the logs. Although Vegeta with the logs, like, he's been training on this, so it's a little bit of a difference. Like, Goku just started this idea of training Ultra Instinct in base. Like, Vegeta, he's been doing this, and he's using, the Hakai on the logs, and eventually he destroys a waterfall, and I loved it. I love the dynamic, honestly. I really appreciate the way that's being done. The dynamic of Beerus training Vegeta, Whis training Goku. It should have been like that from the start, in my opinion. Like something, you go back, maybe Vegeta would have impressed Beerus when they got at it or whatever, and that would have been enough, and I'm talking about back in the Battle of Gods era, like that would have been enough for him to say, yo, I want to take him under my wing. I wish it would have been like that this entire time, because it just feels right. It feels like genuinely how it should have been for the longest. But here we are. Following that, more stuff happens because Maki and Oil arrive on Earth and they're like, yo, fam, we need help. We need this Goku and Vegeta guy, which the logic of these people are not asking like, hey, how do y'all know about Goku and Vegeta? You know, there's a couple questions you would want to ask these aliens that are showing up asking about your husband or whatever, but Chi-Chi's like, no, fam, the money that Mr. Satan gave us is drying up, okay? It is drying up. We need that dough. Goku, chop, chop, get us the bread. I don't know why I can't help but hear her freaking voice in my head. Chi-Chi, I can't stand you. But they offer a job for Goku and Vegeta to basically, you know, obviously they're manipulating the whole situation, and I'm really wondering if we're going to get the reveal of all 10 things that Zuno, you know, gave them the information on in their quest and whatnot. Like, I'm curious if we're going to see everything, because we know that one of the big things they wanted to know, of course, is Goku and Vegeta's weakness. I'm imagining he revealed that their weakness is the fact that they love to fight, and that's how they were able to come up with the idea of, hey, let's manipulate them. The wife is going to want money, so we're going to go that way, and also she's a weakness in and of itself, and also they like to fight, so we could just manipulate them to go in that direction. And after speaking with Goku and Vegeta for a second, it's like, okay, bam, 30 minutes they will be here, which has it always been 30 minutes that it takes for them to get from Whis and Beerus's planet all the way to Earth? I don't know. Then it was really dope, very subtle but really dope, and I like that aspect of things. Like, I like it when Dragon Ball Super does things that is small little gestures, small little nods, but is ultimately still somewhat impactful. Like when Beerus gives the earring to Vegeta, he's like, okay fam, like, yo, this is a symbol that you can use destroy, that you can use Hakai, and he gives him an earring, which I wonder if there's more to it, like if it could be something like Potaro, not necessarily fusion, but maybe like if 2 people wear those earrings, they'll be able to destroy galaxies, some wild shit, I don't know. And that also puts Vegeta in a class of a very small number, because how many people, like even going to, you know, Tournament of Power, how many of those Gods of Destruction had the earring on, that we've seen at the very least? So that was something to note, of like Vegeta's a part of a very small and exclusive club of people being able to use the destroy. And the camaraderie and, you know, the rivalry of we saying, oh, I bet you're gonna put the earring. Let me draw this mark back on Goku real quick to show he's my student here. And I love when, you know, because, you know, they're bickering back and forth, Beerus and Whis. I'm like, oh, you throwing down the gauntlet, fam? And Vegeta's like, there ain't no gauntlet to be thrown down, Beerus. I got this. And just seeing that Kool-Aid smile on Beerus of like him being, yeah, I bet, fam, bet. Like, yo, have you not seen Dragon Ball Super, Beerus? That, like, you know, he's not taking the W. Like, Beerus, you're gonna be very upset. And it seems that there's going to be something that is set up in this very moment, because Whis warns them, like, confidence is going to be your doom in this battle. That's one of the big things. And him warning, I feel like that's 100% foreshadowing that they're gonna get cocky, they're gonna get confident, maybe they're whipping Granola's ass really bad, and they're gonna be like, oh, he's cake! And that's going to be the downfall, whether the heaters show up and stab through them. Whatever the case may be, I think that was a big foreshadowing of what's to come. They are going to get caught lacking. They're going to get caught slipping, and it's going to be a wrap. And it's all going to be because they're looking down on Granolah after kicking his ass. Because, again, I am 100% convinced that they have already surpassed them. And if I'm off, I'm off. But the dragon probably only just barely got Granolah over the mark of where they were at that particular point, assuming that Goku and Vegeta were the strongest in the universe to begin with. Because it seems as though the narrative is completely excluding the fact that, hey, where's the other Saiyan, you know? Broly. Also, when the heaters found the Dragon Radar, first of all, it kind of reminded me of like Pilaf and them when they would get the Dragon Radar, and just how ignorant some of these people are, because Chi-Chi walks in on them plotting and planning, and she's just there like, but about the money, we don't want space money, you're gonna give us real bread, right? We need that dough, that cash, dollar bills, y'all. And being duped by Maki is just like, damn, Chi-Chi really, she just tells her, we're gonna give you your weight in gold, like, don't worry. And Chi-Chi's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, goof. Although I wouldn't be surprised if, like, it just seems like with these heaters that they're so unpredictable that might be one of the things that they hold off their end of the bargain. They actually come through and give her some gold, or she gets gold somehow. Like, I'm calling it that too. By the end of the arc, Chi-Chi might get some type of gold. It might not be in her weight, or it might be something silly, but gold will come to Chi-Chi in one form or another. And again, with this fast pacing, because just imagine, we went from Goku learning about training Ultra Instinct in base form to being able to utilize it, Vegeta utilizing Hakai, getting the earrings, coming to Earth, because they arrive in Earth and they're talking about like, okay, bam, now it's going to take 18 days to get to where this guy is that we're fighting. Like, a lot of things happening, very fast paced. And like, I get it as a monthly chapter, you want to get a lot of things done, but it feels like, you know, coming and going really, really quick. And at least Vegeta has some common sense. Like, nobody's asking any questions. Vegeta's like, oh yeah, I got a really fancy spaceship considering y'all being terrorized by this guy. Like, just, you know, crazy thought. Like, what's going on here, guys? Like, thank you, Vegeta. At least somebody having some small suspicion of, like, random aliens. Like, do you just, like, anybody tells you anything, you just follow them? Like, hey, man, you know, I got $1 billion trillion in my back pocket. Like, come over to my dungeon real quick. Like, nobody questions shit except Vegeta, so shout outs to Vegeta. And I think if Vegeta wasn't so gung-ho and desperate to like prove how strong he is, he wouldn't have completely went along with everything. He's just kind of like, well, okay, you did it for us, why not? You know, his pride got in the way as well. But then Mackie continues on with tricking everyone, calling Granolah and saying, yo, there was a mix-up, Frieza found out about what's going on, he's sending his henchmen over there. So basically, you know, they're both being manipulated. I love it how Granola's looking on the screen and you see Goku and Vegeta, they're like eating and shit. Like, do they look like they're terrorizing criminals? I mean, I get it, he has trauma from like 50 years and shit like that, but I don't know, it just seemed a little silly. And it seems like for a Grandioso battle, it's not going to be Granolah. Again, I'm calling it. It's going to be one of the heaters. More than likely, again, I think Gas. Because Granolah says, I bet, yo, they want all the smoke. I'm gonna give it to them. Yeah, it's been 50 years. They coming to my home planet. We gonna see what's gonna happen. That's all that needs to be said. Say less, Mackie. And he says after 50 years, it's time for revenge, and the chapter ends off there. And to be honest with you, this chapter accomplished a lot. There were some criticisms that I had, mainly pacing issues. It feels like things are happening really, really quick. But at the same time, like, if it didn't happen really, really quick, it might have gotten a little bit stale and people would have complained about it being slow paced. So I understand why they were trying to do certain aspects, but it still feels like this was really, really quick. Also reusing the concept of, you know, going back to the Cell Saga, being able to be in base form essentially with Super Saiyan, using the same idea and concept for Ultra Instinct. I mean, I guess you could say it's a learning curve in general. I wish Goku would have come up with that idea. I wish actually Goku would have said, well, what about, you know, I did this back in the day during a certain battle. What about if I used this idea of trying to do it in base? Like, that would have made a little more sense. So the fact that it was just a reused idea because Whis is like, yeah, we should do this. Like, it seems like they reused it. But in general, seems as though things are moving forward. Very, very big setup chapter with a lot of things going down. Goku's essentially new power to a certain degree. Vegeta's new power. And, yeah, it looks like the battle against Granolah is going to go down, but very curious what you guys think. For starters, you think it's going to just be straight linear? They're going to go up against Granolah, kick his ass, that's the end of it? Do you think if one of the heaters is going to be the big twist and become the strongest villain, the strongest foe of the universe, it's going to be Gas, or is it going to be any of the heaters? Do you think at this point we're going to see Broly? I'm starting to doubt that we're going to see Broly. Like, the only way I can see it being possible is maybe in some sort of exchange they actually end up, or they accidentally end up on Vampa somehow, and or Granolah escapes from his home planet of getting his ass whipped by Goku and Vegeta and somehow crash lands on Vampa. What are your thoughts on that, and your overall thoughts and expectations of how this whole thing is going to go? Seems as though, yeah, we're moving really, really quick. It's a good and a bad thing, but we gotta wait and see. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links, of course, in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and I can't wait to see this fight go down. Who's gonna be the strongest in the universe? Is it gonna be Granolah, Goku, Vegeta, one of the heaters? Are they gonna put Broly back into the canon because they're completely ignoring an absolute monster? We gotta wait and see, but I'm looking forward. Let's do it.
Just go to